Hello. Now we talk about Neo-Fascism ideology in the 21st century, which is presented by Atılgali Nazarke, Жақсылық Sultan, Мағзұм Зубили, Muratov Adlet, and Хаб Rashid Yershad. In the outline, you can see all the topics that we will tell about during the presentation. Now, we will start our introduction from definition of Neo-Fascism. Neo-Fascism is a political ideology that emerged in the 20th century and continues to influence politics in the 21st century. It combines elements of fascism, nationalism, and authoritarianism to create a far-right movement that seeks to preserve traditional values and promote the interests of a particular group. In the recent years, neo-fascist movements have gained traction in several countries around the world, fueled by economic anxiety, immigration concern, and the backlash against globalization. Key ideologies. Neo-fascist ideologies vary widely depending on the specific movement or group, but some common themes include a belief in the superiority of one's own race or nation, a rejection of multiculturalism and diversity, and a preference for strong authoritarian leadership. Many neo-fascist groups also espouse conspiracy theories and reject mainstream scientific consensus on issues like climate change and vaccination.
The rise of neo-fascism can be attributed to a number of factors, including the global economic downturn, the refugee crisis, and the growing sense of cultural and national identity among certain groups. Many neo-fascist movements are characterized by their rejection of multiculturalism, internationalism, and liberal democracy, instead promoting a vision of society based on traditional values, strong leadership, and strict hierarchy of power. Neo-fascism and populism can often intersect as they both attempt to garner support by addressing the worries and apprehensions of regular citizens. Populism is a political approach that aims to connect with the concern of the general public. Leaders who employ populist tactics frequently use language that vilify immigrants, minorities, and other underrepresented communities, depicting them as hazard to the country's welfare and security. This kind of rhetoric has proven effective in mobilizing support for neo-fascist movements, particularly among working-class voters who feel left behind by globalization and the changing economy.
Technology has played a significant role in the rise of new fascist movements, providing a platform for spreading propaganda, organizing rallies and protests, and recruiting new members. Social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter have been used to disseminate fake news and conspiracy theories, while encrypted messaging apps like Telegram and WhatsApp have allowed new fascist groups to communicate and coordinate without fear of surveillance.
The dangers of neo-fascism. Neo-fascism poses a serious threat to democratic societies, undermining the rule of law, human rights, and the civil liberties. Its emphasis on strong leadership, nationalism, and authoritarianism can lead to head erosion of democratic institutions and the concentration of power in the hands of a few. Moreover, its rejection of diversity and multiculturalism can fuel hatred and violence towards minority groups, leading to discrimination, persecution, and even genocide.
Strengths. Appeal to some segments of society that feel disenfranchised or disenchanted with mainstream politics. Ability to mobilize support through strong messaging and propaganda. Effective use of social media and other digital platforms to spread their message. Ability to create sense of community and identity among followers. Weakness. Tendency towards extremism and violence, which can turn off potential supporters and lead to repression from authorities. Limited appeal among mainstream voters who are often turned off by hateful and exclusionary rhetoric. Inability to represent a cohesive policy platform beyond their core issue of nationalism and anti-immigrant sentiment. History of fascism and Nazi atrocities makes it difficult for neo-fascist movements to gain legitimacy. Opportunities. growing disillusionment with mainstream political parties and institutions in many countries, increased polarization and political fragmentation in many societies, which creates space for extremist movements to gain support, global economic and social disruptions such as the COVID-19 pandemic that can create conditions for extremist ideologies to gain traction. Threats, resistance and opposition from mainstream political parties and civil society organizations, increased government repression and crackdowns on extremist movements, potential for violent conflicts and instability if neo-fascist movements gain significant power, risk of radicalization and recruitment of vulnerable individuals, particularly young people, into violent extremist groups.
To sum up, Neo-Fascism continues to be a powerful influence in modern-day politics, propelled by various social, economic, and cultural drivers. Its rise poses a serious challenge to democratic societies, searching to undermine the progress made towards greater equality, justice, and freedom. To address this means, it's imperative that we remain watchful and take preventive measures, promoting acceptance, empathy, and appreciation for differences, while simultaneously opposing those who intend to separate us and propagate animosity and apprehension.
This is our survey about neo-fascism. As you can see, survey taken by mainly men and people from age 18 till 20. Half of the people don't know what neo-fascism is, and half of people think neo-fascism is threat to democracy. This emphasizes that neo-fascism is not supported by people, and people mostly don't think that there rise in neo-fascism sentiment. As I said earlier, neo-fascism not supported by people. Mostly think negatively and neutral about neo-fascism. Here 1 is not useful for society and 5 is most useful. In conclusion about statistics, people mostly think negatively about neo-fascism.